The next scheduled agenda item is the financial report for September from Donna Strong.
We're ready, Donna.
Okay then.
Hi, Donna.
Let's see here. So what report do you have in front of you? Do you want to start with the balance sheet?
Donna, can you hear us well? We have you on.
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Format, that's all.
So, are you ready to go over the balance sheet?
Yes, Donna, we're having a public meeting. Want to be aware of that? Looking for the balance sheet.
Okay.
Balance sheet is right here.
Let me know when you're ready.
We're ready.
Ready, go ahead.
Okay. All right, so starting with the balance sheet, the ending cash at September 30th in all bank accounts is $1,096,420. The accounts receivable just below that for 8866, that cleared out in October. The employee receivable underneath that, that's the $1,636. That is going to be paid through payroll through the end of this year. It'll be paid off by June. The same thing with the employee receivable summer 125. That will be paid off through payroll every month until it's paid off in June. The receivables underneath that, the due from grantor government unrestricted, IDEA, Title II, and SC 740, those were all paid. The monies were received in October. The prepaid expenses, $13,069. That's all for, let's see, it looks like it's 12,114 are your deposits on the building, and the remainder are all staff development that employees are going to be taking at MCOE. And it looks like November, January, and then there's some more training that'll happen in October. So that's what those are about. The $825 at the field trip, that's going to be expensed, or they'll go on the field trip in March, so we'll expense that in March. Okay? On the liability side of it, jumping down to the current liability, the state unemployment insurance payable, that's the quarterly amount, that's the amount we pay every quarter. We add to it each payroll, and then at the end of the quarter, it gets reported to the state and the amount gets paid. Workers' comp payable, at this point, the charter state has the companies pay up front 25% of the estimated premium and then split the remaining estimated premium into 9 payments. So at the beginning of the year, you've always paid more than you've expensed. So this will stay a negative number until probably about, I'm going to say January or February, and then it should start, turning around to be a positive amount, which means that at that point, then that will be what Oasis owes charter state. The 1/6 withholding payable, that's the summer monies that are being withheld from the employees' checks, so that we'll keep adding to that every month until July of next year, and that will get paid out to the employees in July. The 644.75 in suspense clearing, that has to do with the Rabobank credit card. There were fraudulent charges that we're still trying to get cleared up with Rabobank. So hopefully that'll be cleared up by October. Any questions on the balance sheet?
Any questions on the board on the balance sheet? Okay, what's next?
Okay, so you want to move on to the income statement?
All right,
Okay, I'm getting Oasis up on the screen right now. I want to have a look at this in lieu real quick to see why we're not showing any payments for in lieu. Let me just get this done here. For August. Okay. All right. So it looks like as of September 30th, your state aid payments have all been paid to date, as have your EPA payments. Your in lieu you should receive 2 payments by the end of September. But it looks like you didn't receive your August payment until October. So I'm going to check this out with Casey and see if she's contacted Kathleen. So Juanita, I'll let you know about this one. But I know we've invoiced it, but we just need to find out why they haven't paid it yet. Because this is the end of due from Alisal for September. So I'll find out about that and I'll let you know, Juanita, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Let's see. So all the other revenues, you're not really going to start getting these revenues until later in the year. IDEA, that doesn't come through until the first of next year. Title I, that'll be in another month or two, you'll get a small percentage of it. And the same thing with lottery, that you'll get your first apportionment for lottery in December. Your local revenues seem to be about in line. For your fundraisers, I noticed that you got budgeted $16,000 and you've raised $14,000 so far. So, perhaps Juanita, for Senator, will go over that and make sure that 60 is still a real number. Your after school seems to be okay. So all of your revenues, other than the in lieu, seem to be about in line for right now. Teacher salaries, they look fine, as do your certificated and your classified. You're about 18% of budget, which is just about right. And the same thing with your benefits. You're 18.83% of budget, which is again right for this time of the year. Looking through all of your books and supplies, I don't see anything out of line. It all seems to be, you've got plenty of budget left for everything. Everything looks good there. And for your...
Donna, Pete has a question for you.
Donna, I have a question. My favorite thing is
Yes.
the health and welfare.
Yes.
I think we discussed it last month, but it's going up.
I'm sorry, you'll have to say that again.
I think the health care is going up 20%, 18% for next year. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I can respond to that, Donna. And we have our fees set for health and welfare till the end of the academic year. It's going to go up. It will go up, but we don't know by how much. Usually it's 15 to 20% per year, as well as STIRS. It goes up every year. So we don't know the amount, and at this time, I can anticipate a minimum of 15 and a maximum of 20, but we will know by March.
Okay.
How much, by March at the latest, I would say.
So this will be effective for 18, 19.
That is correct.
All right.
Yes. School year, not calendar year.
Yeah. I'm done.
So the current policy that you have, with the current broker you have, Juanita, that is, runs from July 1st through June 30th?
Yes, that is correct.
For the rate?
Yeah, the rate is locked until June 30th, and it goes up starting on July 1st.
Okay, yes, I see that, yeah, I'm looking at the budget now, and it says that 7/117 was the renewal quote. Okay, all right. So when we work on the second interim, and pull in next year, we'll factor that into the projection. The expected percentage increase. Are you going to increase the employer cap that much, or are the employees going to need to participate a little bit more?
And can you ask the question again, Donna? I'm sorry, I was distracted with the statement here looking at it. Can you ask
That's
again?
okay. Well, I mean, this is a question that doesn't need to be asked right now. It's just kind of a off the cuff question. But do you think you'll be increasing the employer cap by the 20%, or will the employees have to participate a little bit more?
You mean for family enrollment or for their coverage?
Well, Oasis is going to continue covering the employee, right?
Right, 100%. That is the plan.
Even with the 20%, right?
Yes, that is the plan. That is
Okay. Okay, so then we'll just factor that in when we work on the projection for next year. We'll factor that
We
in.
just have to factor in a 20% increase, and then if it's less than that, then it's savings at that point, but we have to factor in a 20% for the employee.
Yeah.
Oasis
Yeah.
has the plan to continue covering 100% of the employee benefit cost.
Okay, all right. So, did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so
Thank you.
for services and operating expenses, the only thing that seems to be over budget is dues and membership. So we'll adjust that at first interim. Everything else looks to be right in budget. Let's see. Yeah, everything else looks fine. I don't see anything that stands out or that I see that we need to discuss, really.
I have a question,
Okay.
and it should be on your cash flow statement. Based off the last parent meeting that you guys stated, a number for fundraising, you stated a lot of dollars that were received from your fundraising events, and I don't see those numbers reflected here in your cash flow. So even if it cost you, like you stated, over 20-something thousand that you received from fireworks, and then it cost you, I don't know, I think you said 28, and it cost you 26,000, you should still have the cash deposit in here, and then the expenses on where that 26,000 went. And I don't see anything on here.
That information was provided to the OCC president of the revenue and expenses of the fundraising.
Yeah, but
Gross and net.
for your cash flow statement, should have those deposits, right, Augustine?
I understand your question. I'm not saying, I don't know why they're not.
Yeah, I
I
mean.
understand your question.
So I guess.
Okay, I can't hear the conversation,
Donna-
so is there something I should be answering here?
Yes, Donna, so the question is, there were the fireworks fundraiser, it doesn't seem to be reflected in the cash flow.
The fireworks, okay, let me have a look here.
So I guess also, Donna, the piece says that, I don't know if we need to have the gross and the net. Is that what?
Well, it's just not reflected.
The
So
reflection?
even
It's
if
not
it
broken
costs,
down, yeah.
yeah, even if it costs you a lot, your
Yeah,
cash
yeah.
deposit goes in first here to show that activity. And then underneath, under expenses, you state what those expenses are. But you have a total of only 11,000 in July, nothing in August, and 3,000 in September. And at the parent meeting, there was many more thousands of dollars that were discussed that you had brought up with your laptop. So that
Donna,
should be
did you get the
reflected.
question?
No, I didn't. I'm looking at the actual general ledger for fundraising receipts in the accounting system. And I see in the month of July, the fireworks sales were 11,847. So on the cash flow, that's showing in July under fundraising.
628.
Was that?
And then in September, there were no receipts recorded for fundraising in August. And then in September, the fundraising receipts of $25.42 are all for a barbecue fundraiser.
Okay, so I'm trying to get some understanding here because I'm still a little confused. So that sounds like what we presented at the last OCC meeting, the gross receipts for fireworks was 20-some thousand. And so I guess the numbers are not reflected, Donna, on the total sales, the gross sales, and then minus the expenses and everything that we paid. And so then to come out with the net. I guess that's what the question is, right? What are the 20-some reflected in expenses, therefore you get a net?
Right, that's how it works, yeah.
So
Okay, so are you saying that you realized more revenue than $11,000 in July for fireworks? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because the rest of it, 11,000 was the cash, or not cash, but checks received or cash received, and then the rest was paid with credit cards. So we need to clarify that for the income statement, Donna. There was other amounts received, and those were paid with a credit card, with the card, square, what do you call it, square?
Yeah, so the credit card, all the credit card charges go directly to TNT. So when we go to pay the bill at the end, TNT says, this is how much all your credit cards are received. You received, say, 14,000 in credit cards. So that is taken off of what we sold. So because it goes directly to TNT's account, and that just, it's like a credit for us. That's why it doesn't reflect the whole 20-some thousand in there. And that's how every school does it. It's done with it gets deposited to TNT, and then it gets deducted.
So where would you reflect that activity on your statements?
So,
But the cash was never came into us though.
Donna, I guess the cash flow is monies received. There has to be maybe some clarification on the fireworks. We sold more than that amount. About 20-some thousand was sold. So part of it, what Edith is saying, it was paid directly to TNT. And so that activity needs to be reflected. So can we work on that to make sure the activity is reflected, please? The total activity.
Oasis is gonna have to send us an accounting of it for us to book it. And all we received from Oasis is, a deposit. Let's see here.
We can definitely give you that information.
It was
Donna.
a
We have
deposit on
activity.
7/5, a cash of $11,847, and that's all we've received from Oasis for any fundraising receipts for the fireworks.
That is correct. So let's work on the accounting. We do have the breakdown of revenue minus expenses and what the net amount was. So can we,
Well, okay, but you're saying that the revenue was 20,000.
no, 20 plus.
I don't,
No.
I'm not seeing that.
Donna, the sales were the 20,000 amount. The deposits were the correct amount that you have in, so we just need a ballot to show all those, all the revenues minus deposits and balances so that it's clear that the sales equal the amount that was paid and that was retained by
TNT.
by all entities. So it's breaking down that entire amount of sales. And I probably wouldn't be reflected in your books because it's not reflected in anyone's books. But I think that we need to get some clarification so
No, I
that.
mean, I was.
Okay, well,
So no.
okay,
Transactions
so
are.
what
should
we're
be-
I
showing
understand,
right
I understand what you're
now
saying. I completely understand. We don't need to get into.
is that one deposit for the 11,000. And then we're showing a payment under fundraising expense to American Promotional Events for $3,628.54. Board of Equalization Fireworks Fundraiser Use Tax Fees, $2,403.52. TNT Fireworks, $185. Another one, the City of Salinas, which I'm not sure if that's for the fireworks or not, but that's another $1,896. So, do any of those expenses sound right to you, Juanita?
They are all correct. I guess we just need to show the sales minus all of the expenditures.
Well, we're gonna have to do that as a subledger, because you didn't actually receive $20,000 in cash I mean, you didn't put $20,000 in cash in your bank. So I need to see, someone needs to send over a reconciliation of what you're talking about, and then I'll see how we can book it.
That's what I was referring to.
And that makes sense,
That's
because
right.
just from what I observed.
A sub-ledger is gonna be
You were there.
provided, I'm sorry, the information will be provided to you, Donna, in the next few days, so that you can have a sub-ledger showing the total amount of sales.
Okay, all right, yeah. I'm not sure how we'll incorporate it into the accounting system, or if we can, but we can definitely keep a sub-ledger of those, the revenues versus the expenses. And we should be able to tie that back to the accounting system.
And
So once I see it, I can tell you how we can make this work.
And Donna, the only reason I'm asking is because I've seen and heard a lot of questions regarding the fundraising, a lot of concerns. 2 of the board members attended a parent meeting, and so I would think that you would want to provide sub-ledgers and just clarity on how these transactions are occurring. If you have all the information and it's readily apparent, then you should just be able to work together to provide that on a more regular basis, because what's been provided so far isn't sufficient. Okay?
Okay, so,
Okay, so but for ARI to provide anything, we have to receive it from the school.
Right. Yeah.
So the school has to send us
That's
the
correct.
complete reconciliation that you have, and then we can incorporate it in. We do not have any way of knowing what the total sales were. We don't have access to the credit card you're talking about. So,
yes,
there's no way that we can pull this data together without the school assisting.
and we actually have it, Donna, and the copy of the deposits, bank statements, and receipts, every receipt and every piece of information we had was provided to the OCC president at the October 6th meeting. So we'll provide it to you, and we can see how we can incorporate it. How about that?
Okay, that sounds fine, Juanita.
Thank you.
Okay, now that we all understand the problem, let's see if we can reach a solution shortly. Andrew?
Well, I didn't hear an expense for the total payroll for that month.
We won't, if it's related to, is it related to the fireworks?
Absolutely, yeah.
No,
Sure.
we've already established that we're gonna provide all the information to our accountant,
Oh.
and they're gonna create a sub-ledger of all the expenses against revenues and everything, so it'll be presented at the next meeting. We won't get into details of it any further. Thank you.
Okay, moving on.
Anything else?
Is there another income statement, another statement?
No, that's all, unless you have questions.
Just from the last meeting, you guys had a follow-up. I'm a community member, and I don't have access to internal emails, but the previous concern, Donna, was how you were accounting for stipends to staff in lieu of the parent liaison position. So has that been changed or reflected on either your cash flow or your income statement?
The family community liaison stipend that we got an item added to the statement. Donna, remember?
Let's look on the income statement here. Let's go back to the income statement. See here.
I guess we added a code, tax code for the stipend.
If you look on page 3 of the income statement for September, under support services salary, there's a parent liaison stipend for $4,713.
September?
What page are we on?
On September, Donna?
I'm sorry, what now?
For the
It's
September?
on page 3 of your income statement under classified salaries. About the middle of the page, there's support services salaries. And there's a line for parent liaison stipend.
And so did you guys choose to correct your prior statements to reflect that change as well? Because you were recording it under a regular position as opposed to a stipend. That decision wasn't made at that time? You were going to follow up with Juanita on whether you're going to go back and correct your statements, or if you were going to leave it as is and report that you're paying this out as a regular salary instead of a stipend?
So Donna, are we correcting the statements and going back and making these correction prior statements, or are we gonna keep it from September on forward?
Let me look at this real quick while you move up here. All of the stipends that were paid, let's see, okay, so we reclassed, the first stipend was paid in the August payroll, and we reclassed it from Object 2205, which is your parent liaison, to Object 2275, which is the parent liaison stipend. And then there's the stipend that was paid in the September payroll of $23.5635. So the total of $47.13 that's in there, that is the amount of stipends that have been paid year to date for parent liaison stipends.
Thank you, Donna.
All right. Thank you, Donna.
Okay then, have a nice evening.
All right, good night.